Okay, I think it's recording. Just check. Yes, it is. Good. Okay, so welcome everybody to tonight's webinar. As you can see from that screen, tonight we're talking about supporting your new team members. Hopefully we'll get through this without any more technical problems. I had a few little glitches just getting started, but you seem to be on here okay and be able to hear me and see me, which is the main thing. So for those of you who are new to this, this is one of a series of webinars that I run every Wednesday night or most Wednesday nights called the Kleeneze Circle of Success. And there are 8 webinars that I do altogether. The first 3 there, getting started, your first 4 weeks and building your customer base, are mainly about the retail side of the business. The second 2, last week and this week, are about how you can grow your business and grow your income far more than you can do just on your own by sharing it with other people. And you can start sharing it with other people from day one. You don't have to feel like, you know, oh, I need to learn how to be a team leader and do everything that my sponsor does, because that's exactly what your sponsor's there for. You can just share it with a few friends, a few customers. They might say, oh, I know somebody who'd be interested in earning a bit of extra money. And then your sponsor will put that person in your team and help them get off to a great start. And that just simply means you get bigger bonuses while you're learning how to do it all yourself. So I'm going to talk a bit about supporting new team members today. That's the content of tonight's webinar. And then the next 3 webinars, 6, 7, and 8, are all about the personal development side of the business. They're not particular skill like how to put a catalogue out, how to recruit somebody, how to sign somebody up. It's more about your attitude and how much more work you can get done if you kind of do a bit of personal development, and how much bigger your business can grow. So tonight, though, we're talking mainly about supporting your new team members, and we're going to be covering a number of things. So one is setting their expectations when they start. And it's really important that people, when they first join, know what to do. There's a getting started appointment, which is a great opportunity for you to start to build a bit of rapport with your new team member, make sure you understand what they're looking for and help them to get started. I'm going to be talking a bit about anticipating early problems that they might have, helping them to keep on track. I'm going to suggest that it's really important that you go to work for them. And the other thing that's really important as well is to recognize their progress. When people first start off in the business, you know, you can go to the Birmingham showcase and see people going across the stage because they're earning £10,000 a month and they're off to India and they're doing all these fantastic things. But when your new starters start, it's really important to recognize their little steps that they're making on their journey towards that. And finally, I'm going to talk about the importance of promoting events within your team. Yeah, good question, Lynn. That was supposed to be it wasn't supposed to be a moving little GIF there, but it was. I don't know if anyone else could see that. Probably giving you a little bit of a headache. Okay, so we start off with a new team member. Last week we talked a bit about the different ways you can find somebody who might be interested in earning a bit of extra money, and you can share the business with them. And when you have somebody new joining your team, this is where the business gets really exciting. But it's also where your hard work begins. And there's a phrase which we talk about quite a lot: your success in Kleeneze will be in direct proportion to the amount of frustration you can deal with. Because you will have people that will join your business who say, oh, they're really excited, they want to do loads and loads, and then they end up, you know, oh, well, it's got in the way, or I couldn't do this, or something, you know, my computer broke down, and all sorts of things happen. And often it's not their fault, and you spend a lot of your time trying to help them solve problems, but it can be frustrating at times, and you have to be prepared to help them through that frustration, because if you just leave them to get on with it, they'll become very disheartened and will leave very quickly. But remember, the other thing is you don't have to recruit 1,000 people to have a successful business. You only need 5 serious people to build a huge business, because this business works best when you've got 5 serious people, and each of those has got 5 serious people, and each of those has got 5 serious people. And so hopefully you can see it doesn't take long before you've suddenly got 1,000 people in your group, just because you've got 5 serious ones. Now, the aftercare and support when somebody joins the business is the biggest impact you can have on the success of your new team member. And it is important to understand that many people will leave, that it's not the right business for everybody. Some people come in, they really like the idea, but just because of other commitments or other issues that they might have, it's just not the right time for them. And that's okay. That's, you have to accept that, and don't burn bridges, because if people leave because it's not the right time for them, but you've done everything you can to support them, then when the time is right for them, they'll come back to you and say, can we join again? And it's really important, especially at the beginning, that you keep in touch with your new starters. The little phrase we use quite often, constant communication keeps people inspired. If you get people started and just leave them to get on with it, there's always ups and downs. They'll get a little bit disheartened. If they don't feel that they can contact you easily, then they'll just stop. And if people just stop doing things, stop taking actions, then their business will die. What you will find is the people who are contacting you regularly, asking you for help and advice and what's the next step, those will be your leaders, your 5 serious people. You'll soon be able to spot them, because they'll be the ones who are constantly contacting you, asking for help. What's the next step? How do I do this? And it's absolutely fantastic when you find people like that in your team. So what's really important is that you explain to them how the business works and set their expectations for what they can earn and what they can do in this business. And I recommend you actually start doing this before they even sign up. And the way I do this is, when they've said they'd like to start and you've explained to it how you're going to go through it and send them an email and so on, and decided which starter kit they want to go for, so they're kind of ready with a debit card in hand, explain to them first that the way that you'll work together is that your role is what's called that you are their sponsor, and that your job is to give them 100% help and support to help them get whatever their goals are in this business. But in return for that, in return for all of the help that you're going to give them, they need to commit to a few things. They need to commit to putting some time into it. This is a very flexible business, and you can choose your own hours, but if you're not able to put 10 to 15 hours a week in, they'll really struggle to make it work. If you get somebody who joins and says, oh yeah, I'm really ambitious, I really want to do well, but I've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, to be honest, it's better if you know that now than after they've signed up and you've got all excited and you've helped them to get going, and then you wonder why nothing's happening. So make sure they realize they've got to commit that. Make sure that they realize that they need to keep in contact with you. That's how you will help them get off to a fantastic start. Sorry guys, my phone is just going off there. And that they need to learn the system. So the system that we all follow, there's the training videos and guides that you will have, your sponsor will have shown you. There's different sort of systems that different groups follow, but the training videos and guides that your sponsor gave to you, you'll need to explain to your new team member that they'll need to do the same, and that there are these weekly webinars and there are monthly workshops or opportunity meetings or so on. Sorry guys, someone's trying to get hold of me. I'll just have to wait for them to leave a message. So make sure they're aware of that at the beginning, because if you get somebody to commit to putting the time in, keeping in touch with you and learning the system, then when they do all of that before they even sign up, then they're much more likely to do well with you. Okay, the next thing to do is, within 24 hours of them handing over their hard-earned cash, you need to have a getting started appointment with them. And this is really important. It's a really important part of getting to know your new team member. So you should do this face-to-face if they're local to you, or using Skype or some other kind of video calling. That the video calling side of it is really, really important, because when you're chatting to somebody face to face and you can hear their voice and you can kind of see what they're saying, you get their kind of their tone of voice, and the same with you. You build rapport with someone far quicker, and that, you know, getting to know you and like you and trust you is absolutely critical in helping somebody get off to a good start. So you should take your time with this call. You know, have a chat with them about why have they joined this business? What are their needs? What are they looking for? Are they just looking for an extra £50 a week so they can treat the kids to a pizza and a movie at the weekend? Are they worried about paying their bills, their mortgage, their rent, so they need at least £500 a month to do that? Make sure you understand their situation, because it's really important that you help them to get to whatever it is their goal is. Whatever their goals are for their first pay packet, if you like, at the end of their first period, if they're looking for an extra £250 a month or whatever it is, you need to know that so you can help them. And if you know why they're doing it, because somebody will just say, oh, I just want an extra £50 a week. But if you know what they're aiming for, you know, whether they're looking to save up for a wedding or a holiday or a car or pay the bills, that's just a really powerful piece of information that you can help them when they're kind of feeling a bit up or down, and they just kind of need a bit of encouragement to reminding what their goals were and what they're looking to get out of this. At this point, you can also give them an introduction to the retail side of the business. So if they're mainly doing catalogs, you can go through that briefly with them. If they're mainly doing Facebook, you can go through that with them. If you've sent them some getting started videos, like the sellonfb.co.uk or that sort of thing, then they may already have a good introduction anyway. But if they haven't, this is a great time to do that with them. And you should also introduce them to the different training that they can get on. So the webinars, so all you guys are obviously investing your time in joining the Wednesday night webinars. So make sure your new team member understands the value of these, because if you can get them to webinars and workshops and showcases and events, sorry guys, phones are going bonkers tonight. So yes, if you can get them to all of these different events and things, then again, they will see the bigger picture. They will get inspired by hearing and seeing what other people are doing, and they'll become really, really ambitious. And that's fantastic when that happens. So anticipate and eliminate early errors. There are things that can go wrong in the beginning of the business. And if you can anticipate those and kind of help your sponsor overcome them quickly before they become kind of big issues in their mind, then that just smooths out the first few weeks. So, for example, make sure they send a photo in to head office. You know, to be honest, I've been in the business 8 years. No one's ever asked to see my ID card. But if you don't send a photo in, then head office will put their account on stop within, I think it's 28 days if they haven't done that, and then they won't be able to place another order. And if that's kind of just before they were about to get a bonus or something like that, that can be really disheartening. So just make sure they send a photo in straight away, and just, you can kind of inoculate them a little bit against failure. And what I mean by that is, if they're doing catalogs, you know, they kind of need to acknowledge that it does rain in this country. Unfortunately, we don't live in the south of Spain where it might never rain, but in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, it does rain. And you will have pickups where you lose catalogs, where you get grumpy so-and-sos that tell you never to darken their doorstep again. Even just on Facebook, they will have people mourning and commenting and saying, oh, you can get that cheaper in Poundland. So just explain to them, these sorts of things happen. It happens to everybody. Don't worry, just carry on, follow the system that you're teaching them, and they'll be earning money before they know it. Make sure they've got the contact details of their upline. So obviously you as their sponsor, but your sponsor as well, so that if you're never available, sorry, not if you're never available, if you're not available at a particular point and your new starter needs to contact somebody, they know exactly who they can call or Facebook message, you know. And also the telephone number of the service desk, that's a great number for them to have as well, because then they can always call that, you know, if they can't get hold of you as well. And then make sure you know when the next meeting is for them. So whatever their local event is, whatever events you go to, whether it's the 10 Steps workshop, a local opportunity meeting, and a webinar on Wednesday night, make sure you invite them to that meeting. And what I mean by that is you need to be a promoter of events, not an announcer. An announcer is somebody who just sends an email out to everybody in their team saying, hey guys, don't forget we've got a Wednesday night webinar. A promoter is somebody who will ring them up and say, hi, how are things going? Everything okay? Don't forget tomorrow night, Wednesday at 8 p.m. we have the Wednesday webinar. These are fantastic. You'll learn so much about it. And this one is really useful for you because it's all about whatever it might be. So explain to them the value of it. Do they know where the link is that they have to click on? Do they know, how to log in? Have they managed to get any childcare sorted out if it's about coming to a meeting? So if you can promote the event and explain to them the value of it, then they will definitely make a big effort to get there. If you just send an email and leave it up to them, there'll always be things that will get in the way. And it's really important to explain the steps to them about building a customer base. If they're doing catalogs, at the beginning, you could deliver 50 catalogs, 100 catalogs, and just get, 1 or 2 tiny orders and think, oh, actually, that wasn't very much. And it's really important that they understand that this isn't the business. This is the way they build their business. And once they get to a customer base, they'll be delivering 100 catalogs and get 50 orders, and they'll just make, they're making like 20 or 30 pounds an hour. But you just need to go through that to get to the point where you build your customer base. So make sure you explain that to them and talk to them regularly. And by that I mean kind of pretty much every day. When their starter kit arrives, if they've gone for catalogs, and when they've done their first drop, when they've done their pickup, if they're placing their adverts on Facebook, and when they're ready to place their first order, you should be talking to them pretty much every day during their first week or two, so that they get to know it's okay to call you and text you and chat to you when they start and they've got any questions, because you're there to help them. Other things that can go wrong, if they started on the installments package. Sorry guys, just having a swig on my cup of tea. If they started on the installments package, make sure you know the dates of their next installment. So the installments package at the moment, there's just 2 payments, the £50 payment, or I can't remember what it is in euros if they're in Ireland. And make sure you know the dates of those, because if the debit card or the credit card that they use to pay the £25, if that doesn't have the money in when their installment is due, then their account goes on hold, they can't put an order in. And again, if that's just before the end of a period and they were hoping to get a 10% bonus or something like that, and they miss out because they've forgotten to put some money in their account, that can be really disheartening. So you need to make sure you call them a day or 2 before their installment is due. Just remind them that they've got their, whatever it is, £50 payment coming out in 2 days' time. Don't forget to put some of your money that you've been earning into that account. And just don't miss one, because what happens is your account goes on hold, you can't put any orders in, and it's a right pain. Now also, this is the point where you have to go to work for them. And this is particularly important if they're on Facebook, because wherever they are in the country, you can really go to work for them at this point. You can join selling groups in their area. And all you need to do is just find some groups in their area, join them. It might take a day or 2 for people to approve your request. Once you're in those groups, if they're not in those groups, you can add them. You can also promote their selling group. I just put a little comment in, go into it as if you were posting a product, but just say, hi everyone, my friend Susie's just started a fantastic online shop for the Grimsby area. She's got loads of fantastic gifts and goodies for kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, everywhere around the home, with lots more. Come and take a look at, and then either put a link in or just sort of say, whatever the name, Susie's Sensational Bargains, whatever the name of her shop is, so that you're trying to help her get customers into her group, so she gets orders and gets off to a great start. And it's really important to recognize that it's a race. When you first start, you're excited, you set your group up, you put your catalogs out, and it's really important that they get their first order in really quickly. Because if you're kind of posting loads of things on Facebook and putting loads of catalogs out and not getting many orders, and you're 2 weeks into the business before you put your first order in, and you're worried that your first customers have been waiting for like a fortnight before you get things to them, lots of things start to seem kind of difficult and complicated and disheartening. So you have to think, don't just let people think, oh, well, I'll just do it at my own time. It's really important to get things working well for them as quickly as possible. So to get their first order in, to help them make their first profit, when they deliver those orders, they get their money from their customers, they're in profit really, really quickly. Help them get to their first bonus. You know, if they're really close to getting a 10% bonus, make sure they know maybe they just need another £100 order in before the Thursday night at 9 p.m. They might be thinking, oh, well, I better wait until I've got £150 and get free delivery. But if they put an order in, even if they couldn't get a drop ship and they paid a $5.99 delivery charge, they might get a £40 bonus from that. And so it's definitely worth $5.99 to get that bonus. So make sure you're monitoring their figures. You know if they're able to get a bonus, if they're coming up to a bonus, because if you can get them to get their first bonus, that gives you all sorts of benefits. Firstly, it gives them extra money, which is brilliant. Secondly, it gives them like a check which they can then use to present the business to people, to demonstrate that the business works. So that's really, really important. Now, I talked earlier about recognizing their progress. Obviously, when you go to the big showcases at Birmingham, you'll see people getting recognized for all sorts of fantastic things. But if you're using Facebook, then Facebook's a fantastic, a really simple and effective way to congratulate your new team member on all sorts of different things. So firstly, welcoming them to your team. If you've got a little group, if you don't have a team group, speak to your sponsor, because your sponsor will probably have one that you're in anyway. So a little welcome message. Hi guys, well, please say hello to Susie. She's just joined the business. You can tag her in that message, and then lots of other people in your team can then say, hi Susie, welcome to the business. You'll have a great start. You know, and Chris is a great sponsor. He'll give you loads of help, you know, whatever it might be. When they place their first order, make sure you say, well, great job, Susie. Just placed their first order, £150. So you'll get 50 free catalogues on their way with their first order. So you know, lots of recognition when they're getting started. Well, congratulations, you've now earned £25, which paid off the cost of your business. You've only been in the business a week, and you've already got a profitable business. And well done on achieving your bonus. So you can see there are lots of things that you can congratulate people for. People like being congratulated. We all like a pat on the back. We all like to feel, hey, I started this only a week ago. Things seem to be going quite well. And by congratulating them and saying, well done, great job, it confirms to them that things are going quite well. So they're much more likely to work harder, get more bonuses, get more money, grow a big business, and you know, that's exactly what you want. Now, you need to help keep them on track as well. So one of the things you need to understand from is, and you'll get this from that getting started appointment within 24 hours, that is, how much do they want to earn? And is that realistic? If you've got somebody who's saying, well, I've just lost my job, and you know, I need £1,000 a month to pay the mortgage, but you know, I've only got a couple of hours on a Saturday morning, that's not really realistic. But you know, if they're saying, well, I'd just like an extra £50 or £100, is that, you know, and you know, how much do I need? How many catalogs do I need to put out? Do I need to post on Facebook every day? Then absolutely, you can do that. One second. And so just make sure that if you know what they're looking to earn, and you know how many orders they need to put in to achieve that, then you're monitoring that. You're kind of seeing how many orders they're putting in, whether they're close to getting a bonus, or that kind of thing. So keep track on all of that. Explain the bonus system to make sure that they're aware of what they need to achieve at the end of the period. When the end of the period's coming up, as we get close to a Thursday night, at the end of the period, do they need extra orders to qualify for a bonus, or is it worth them waiting until the Friday morning, put an order in, and that'll give them a great start to the next period? And just help them to set their first goals, their 30-day challenge, their first 10% bonus, are fantastic goals that they can achieve within their first few weeks in the business. The events that we get invited to, that are arranged for us, are always absolutely fantastic. And you need to do absolutely everything you can to promote those events, to get your people, your new starters, to them. So whether it's the Wednesday webinars, the induction webinar, the workshops, the showcases, you need to show the importance and the value of them to your new team members. And as I said earlier, promote them, explain to them how important they are, ring them up and ask them, do you need a lift? Can I help you to get there? If you just send an email and announce it, a lot of people won't turn up because they sort of think, oh, I'm not sure how important it is. But if you can help them to solve their transport problems or childcare problems, or do you have an auntie that might be able to look after, or maybe if you look after one of the neighbours' children for a day, then they would look after yours for a day to help you out. All sorts of different things that you can help you with. You need to be the leader that you seek. So if you're thinking, oh, well, maybe if I had a big team and I was doing loads of things, I could help more people. But you should start off thinking, how can I help people to earn what they're looking to earn when you've only got one person in your team? Because that's when your business starts. Okay, just going to check that you guys were all wide awake while I was going through this. Can you remember what I said? When you have a new starter joining us, what should you ask them to commit? You said that you're going to give them 100% help and support. What would you like them to commit to as a new starter? Yeah, well done, Sarah. 10 to 15 hours. Anything else? Can anybody else remember what we asked people to commit to? Yep, learning and following the system. Fantastic, Amanda, Andrew. Thank you. There was one more. Can anybody remember what the other one was I said? Keep in contact, Emma. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, Karen, getting them to the meetings. I talked about communication, making sure that people communicate with you, make sure they learn the system, and make sure that they're able to commit 10 to 15 hours. Now, I've talked about this a couple of times. What were the two different ways that you can inform a new starter about an event? Can you remember what I called them? What I explained? Fantastic, Lynn. Thank you. Yeah, well done, Amanda and Andrew. Well done, Elliot. You guys are all on the ball. Yeah, promoting the event is so important. If you just announce them, you'll get a fraction of the people coming to the event and a fraction of the income that you will earn, that you could earn. Okay, guys, we're pretty much wrapped up for this evening. What we covered tonight was setting the expectations of your new starters. The importance of that getting started appointment, to build a bit of rapport with them so they know you and like you and trust you. Starting to anticipate some of the early problems that they can have, helping to keep them on track. The importance of you going to work for them to help them get off to a good start. Remember, it's a race to get them off to a good start. To recognize their progress, I think Facebook's a fantastic tool for doing that, and the importance of promoting the events. Okay, that's pretty much finished what we were going to do this evening. Next week, we'll be talking about growing yourself to grow your business. And I'm just going to turn off the training, sorry, not the training, the recording.